This episode of the Great Hip Hop Debate is sponsored by
the Maryland, D.C. Minority Supplier Development Council, providing minority entrepreneurs and corporate representatives varied opportunities to build productive relationships for more than 30 years. For more information,
To many of the people out there, hip-hop is a way of life where it's about being real and having street credibility to back it up. Biggie lived the everyday struggle. Tupac saw his end and death around the corner, and Bushwick Bill slept with his hand on the trigger. The more you've been through, the more real you sound. Arrests, hustles, gunshot wounds, the whole nine. You're authenticated. You're a real MC. But what if you're in the rap game and you don't have all that luxury? And what if you're from the burbs? Welcome to the world of the white MC. Here's how it goes. White boy from middle-class suburbia has some flow and wants to give the rap game a go. Problem is, nobody wants to relate to anybody, white, black, whoever, who they perceive as a phony rapper. They need legitimacy. But what is legitimacy? Is it working with a hot producer, real-life experiences, or do they not need any of that at all? The Great Hip Hop Debate will consider this question in a segment that I would like to call List. We're going to go through about a half a dozen or so rappers, old school, new school, underground, and determine how much of them needed legitimacy to boost their careers. Our first MC is Eminem. And as the panel knows, Eminem recently retired, probably one of the biggest rappers of all time, black, white, or whatever. How much credibility did Eminem need to blow up in hip-hop?
Well, he needed a lot of credibility because, simply put, without Dr. Dre, there is no Eminem. We never hear about Slim Shady. We never hear about D12 or anything because he had been rapping in the game for years. Yeah. But he needed not just any producer. He needed probably the biggest producer, hip-hop legend of all time to help him out to be big.
Well, once he got that stage, he held his own. That's the question about, like, when you're talking about legitimacy and stuff like that. Like, once you get your shot, if you can hold it, then, anybody can get a lucky break, you know what I'm saying? Or that's the American dream, is that anybody, as long as they're doing what they got to do, can get a lucky break. And so, like, maybe the question of legitimacy is more about, like, who got lucky today, you know? And then, like, once you get lucky, can you keep lucky? Can you stay lucky?
I mean, Eminem was freestyling on shows for years. I mean, he was on the Sway and King Tech show many times doing freestyles and stuff, and he was hot, but he never got that pub.
But like, look, Dre was the only person who decided, hey, let's be real. The industry said after Vanilla Ice, we're not going to deal with white boys anymore.
We're going to deal with Vanilla Ice next.
We're not going to deal with white boys anymore.
Probably not as harshly as we should.
Simply put, because white boys don't have skill, white boys are fake. And here was Eminem, real, from like dirt poor part of Detroit, all this stuff, living a life. He couldn't catch a break. Yeah. As skilled as he was, it took Dr. Dre.
But how many black rappers were in Detroit at the time who had the same story?
Kid Rock.
You know? Yeah.
I mean, you got the whole, he had D12. He had a lot of people that he came up with, but it seemed like he was the only one, to really blow. And did he really, was Dr. Dre the catalyst? I think most people would probably say yes. That he needed Dr. Dre, and without Dr. Dre, then he wouldn't have been nowhere.
He'd be in the trailer park still.
Oh, he'd be in the trailer park with Kim Basinger, huh?
His mom?
Well, yeah, he'd be living with his mom, no doubt, or with Kim. He had divorced already. Yeah. But anyway, we're moving from Eminem to another rapper, Vanilla Ice. Now, as you know, the story of Vanilla Ice, he grew up in the hood of Dallas, I guess. I think that was fake. And then he blew up with our Ice Ice Baby, did his little Go Ninja Go, and was out. He was out the door. I mean, how much cred did Vanilla Ice need to blow up?
He didn't need any. He needed no credibility at all. He came out, people were like, oh my God, a white man and rapping, and we'll buy it. Ice Ice Baby took off. Then when they found out later that maybe he wasn't as real as he pretended to be, or people told him that they were, he just dropped off.
Okay. I mean, what about like the Beastie Boys? I mean, there were white rappers before Vanilla Ice came around. You had Third Base with MC Search. You have Beastie Boys. You had, several others. But why Vanilla Ice? Why not them?
Well, I think, he was also in the same era with MC Hammer. I think both of them were more entertainers than they were MCs. Because you saw how they had the tremendous stage show. I mean, that was the thing you wanted to see, the concerts, not sit there, but really, really listen to the album. So at that time, credibility wasn't a big thing. But as you can see, right when he tried to make the transition from the era of the entertainer to becoming a true MC, he lost all credibility when he tried to go to the underground, tried to go hardcore. That's when he was like, where's your credibility at? Gone. It's nothing. Just like MC Hammer. So he had no credibility? Gone.
Okay, so why did Eminem need cred? Why did Eminem need Dre and Vanilla? Why did Vanilla Ice not need anybody?
Because there's a difference between shiny and gritty. The stuff that Eminem was spitting was he was trying to tell stuff about life being hard, and like you were saying, Ice was just talking to some turtles, and selling some pizzas.
Yeah, he was dancing. He was dancing with them too. He was doing everything with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It also
Go get it.
it also came. He came in a different era. Eminem came in the gangster rap era. Vanilla Ice came out at a time where gangster rap was still, the public was still trying to feel it out. Like there were people who knew about it, but they weren't so sure about it. Okay. And a lot of people actually thought gangster rap was going to be a fad and going to disappear.
Okay. Now start. We're going to move from before gangster rap, before Vanilla Ice, to the Beasties. Now the Beasties, came up under Def Jam with Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin at the time was blowing up everybody. LL, I think he do some production for Run DMC on the side as well, although they weren't under the label. How much cred did the Beastie Boys need in comparison to those two?
Well, I think it was, at that time, they were the first to ever do it, really. So they were like, okay, we're setting the stage, one. And two, their first album was sort of a rock rap hybrid, so it wasn't so just strictly a rap thing going on there. So I think at that point, credibility wasn't that big of a factor. It was all about, they were the first ones to do it, and also it was sort of an ease transition for them.
For the white fans from back when they were more of like a punk band. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, there was that sort of a nice sort of easy, soft segue so that they can keep their traditional fan base, I guess.
Okay.
And still get introduced to real hip hop.
I mean, the question needs to be asked: does part of their legitimacy come from the fact that a lot of people don't even see them as hip hop?
I mean, I feel like part of the legitimacy comes from the fact that they've survived. Yeah. They've lasted as long. Let's be real. They can rhyme a little bit, but they're not really bringing much to the stage. Okay. And so what's helped them out is that they've been around for 20 years and they were one of the originals. Mm-hmm. And no matter what you think about them, you have to give them props for that.
Okay.
I kind of disagree with that. I mean, of course I give them props. I disagree with their shows. They weren't really real at the time. I mean, they're very talented MCs. They're good writers. They've got amazing production. The Dust Brothers on Paul's Boutique, one of the best albums ever.
Okay.
And they've got stage presence too, man. I mean, they bring energy every place they go.
Okay. We're gonna move to some more current MCs. We're gonna sort of combine Paul Wall and Bubba Sparks together. Now, Paul Wall, these are both Southern rappers. Bubba Sparks from the country state of Georgia, and Paul Wall coming from that H-town, sipping the scissor with the grills. I know Ari loves the grills. You know what I'm saying? So what makes their story different? These guys are coming along now. These guys came up a little different, maybe, but did they need equal legitimacy, or did one need more than the other? Needed more than the other.
Bubba Sparks, Timmy was talking. On that first and that second album, Timmy was talking to him.
Timmy was speaking.
And then the great thing about them was Bubba was a decent artist to start. But when they got in the studio, they made magic together. Now, Paul Wall, he's more of a sideshow to me, not a legitimate MC. So I can't really say he's all that legitimate in my eyes. And what would he need to be more legitimate in my eyes? Hey, maybe some better lyrics or something. Something.
Ghostwriter.
Yeah. Let's be real. I've heard people talk about Paul Wall, and they don't even see him as white. They just see him as a rapper because he's so ingrained in that H-Town culture. He came up with all those guys. Chamillionaire, Slim Thug, Mike Jones. He came up with all those guys. A lot of people don't even look at him and see race, whereas Bubba Sparks, they might see race a little bit, or has that all changed?
Well, I think that's probably because Bubba's talking about rolling around in the mud with the pigs.
He plays it up.
He definitely uses his whiteness in his lyrics as something that you're supposed to say, oh, he's white. And it's clear because of his songs, and yet he can rap. He makes use of it.
Paul Wall, but I'll agree with my man on Paul Wall is just straight up garbage. He's just writing coattails.
Wow, he's garbage.
Movement, you could replace Paul Wall with anybody else in the game.
Okay. Quick. I'm gonna wrap this up real quick again. How much legitimacy do white rappers need to make it in hip hop? Just measure. Give me like a nut. Like how much? A little? A lot?
A lot.
A lot.
More than anyone else.
More than anyone else.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. Asians can come in, and anybody with like slightly brown skin has a better chance than a white guy. So.
Oh, wow.
I feel that.
I'll just go with a lot.
We just
lot.
go with a lot. All right. Well,
Absolutely.
that was the white rappers and legitimacy question. We'll be back with the poll question. How did you vote on it? Well, we'll tell you when the Great Hip Hop Debate returns after this.